In the peaceful village of Amego, everyone knew each other. It was the kind of place where the children played freely, and elders sat under the big baobab tree, sharing stories of old. Among the children was Adaora, a bright-eyed, hard-working girl with a heart as pure as the morning sun. She always helped her mother with chores and took care of her younger siblings. One sunny afternoon, Adaora hurried through the market with a basket full of fresh vegetables for her mother. The busy market was alive with people trading goods, gossiping, and laughing. Just as she was about to cross the road, Chinedu, a mischievous boy, came running, not paying attention to where he was going. "Watch out," a woman shouted, but it was too late. Chinedu accidentally bumped into Adaora, sending her basket of vegetables flying. Both of them fell to the ground, surrounded by scattered tomatoes, peppers, and okra. Adaora's face flushed with anger as she sat up. "Chinedu, look at what you've done," she cried, glaring at him. Chinedu quickly stood up, rubbing his head. "I'm sorry, Adaora. I didn't see you. Let me help you pick them up." Adaora stood up and dusted off her wrapper. "Be more careful next time," she muttered, but her lips curled into a smile as Chinedu scrambled to gather the vegetables. As they finished picking up the last of the tomatoes, Chinedu looked at her sheepishly. "I'll carry your basket for you. It's the least I can do after causing this mess." Adaora hesitated for a moment but then nodded. "All right, but no more running around like a goat in the market." Chinedu laughed, and from that day, their paths crossed more often than before. Days passed, and Chinedu and Adaora started spending more time together. They helped each other with chores, played games, and often sat by the river, talking about their dreams. One evening, as they sat under a large mango tree near the riverbank, Adaora shared her worries with Chinedu. "My father has been sick for weeks now," she said, her voice trembling. "I'm scared. What if he doesn't get better?" Chinedu's playful nature faded, and he looked at her seriously. "Your father is strong. He will get better, Adaora. I'll help you however I can." Adaora smiled faintly. "Thank you, Chinedu. You've always been a good friend." The next morning, Adaora had some unsettling news. Her little goat, No, had gone missing. She searched around the house and asked her neighbors, but no one had seen No. "Chinedu, No is gone," Adaora told him when they met later that day. "We'll find her, don't worry. Let's check the forest." "She might have wandered off," Chinedu said, trying to cheer her up. Together, they ventured into the thick forest at the edge of the village. The trees were tall, and the shadows made it feel colder. They searched and called out for No, but there was no sign of her. Just as Adaora was about to lose hope, they heard a faint bleating sound. "There! Did you hear that?" Adaora's eyes lit up. They followed the sound and found No trapped between some bushes. With Chinedu's help, they freed the little goat, and Adaora hugged No tightly. "Thank you, Chinedu. I was so worried," Adaora said, relief flooding her heart. Chinedu smiled. "I told you we'd find her." Soon, the time for the New Yam festival arrived. The entire village was buzzing with excitement. People decorated their homes with colorful cloths, and there were piles of yams everywhere. It was a time of celebration, music, and dance. "Adaora, are you coming to the festival?" Chinedu asked, walking up to her house. Adaora emerged from the doorway, wearing a bright red wrapper and matching headscarf. She looked beautiful, and Chinedu's heart skipped a beat. "Yes, I'm ready. Let's go." They walked to the village square, where drums echoed through the air and dancers moved to the rhythm of the talking drums. Adaora and Chinedu joined in the fun, playing games and enjoying the delicious food. But as they wandered through the crowd, they saw a group of older boys gathered around the wrestling ring. "Chinedu, you should try. Adaora encouraged him, her eyes gleaming with excitement. Chinedu hesitated. The boys in the ring were much bigger and stronger than him. I don't know if I can beat them, he said, scratching his head. Adaora placed her hand on his shoulder. You can do it. I believe in you. Encouraged by her words, Chinedu stepped into the ring. His opponent was Obi, a tall, muscular boy who had won several matches already. The crowd gathered around, cheering for both boys as they prepared to wrestle. Obi grinned at Chinedu. Are you sure you want to do this, little Chinedu? I don't want to hurt you. Chinedu's heart raced, but he stood firm. Let's see what you've got, Obi. The match began, and Obi quickly tried to overpower Chinedu. The crowd gasped as Obi pushed him to the ground. But Chinedu, remembering Adaora's faith in him, refused to give up. He dodged Obi's next move and, with all his strength, flipped him over. The crowd erupted in cheers as Chinedu pinned Obi down and won the match. Adaora jumped up, clapping her hands. I knew you could do it, Chinedu. Chinedu smiled, panting but proud. I couldn't have done it without you cheering me on. Just as everything seemed perfect, disaster struck. A heavy storm hit the village, causing floods that destroyed several farms, including Adaora's family farm. Their crops were washed away, and the family was left with nothing. Adaora's mother sat in front of their house, crying. How will we survive now? Our yams are gone. Adaora tried to comfort her mother, but inside, she was scared too. We'll find a way, Mama. We just need to stay strong. When Chinedu heard what had happened, he rushed over to Adaora's house. Don't worry, Adaora. We can fix this. I have an idea. Chinedu gathered the village children and organized a small performance at the village square. They sang, danced, and told stories, asking for donations to help Adaora's family rebuild their farm. At first, people were hesitant, but soon they were moved by the children's efforts and started to give. By the end of the day, they had raised enough money to buy new seeds and help Adaora's family start over. Adaora was overwhelmed with gratitude. Chinedu, you've saved my family. I don't know how to thank you, she said, tears of joy in her eyes. Chinedu smiled warmly. We're in this together, Adaora. That's what friends are for. As time went on, Adaora and Chinedu realized that their bond was more than just friendship. What had started with an accidental bump in the market had turned into something much deeper. One evening, as they sat by the river watching the sunset, Adaora spoke softly. Chinedu, do you remember the day you knocked me over in the market? She asked with a smile. Chinedu chuckled. How could I forget? You were so mad at me. Adaora laughed too, then grew serious. I'm glad it happened. You've become someone I can always count on. Chinedu looked at her, his heart swelling with warmth. You've become someone I can't imagine my life without. They sat in comfortable silence, both of them knowing that their friendship had blossomed into something more, something beautiful and unexpected. The villagers often spoke of Adaora and Chinedu, calling their story Fate of the Heart. What had begun as a simple accident had blossomed into a love that was strong and pure. And every time someone told their story, they would smile, knowing that sometimes love finds us in the most unexpected ways. Life in the village continued, and Adaora and Chinedu grew even closer. Their love was now evident to everyone in Amego. The elders would smile knowingly whenever they saw the two together, and the children would giggle, teasing them as they passed by. However, not everyone was happy about their blossoming relationship. One day, as Chinedu was working on his father's farm, an elderly man named Chief Okachukwu, known for his wisdom but also his pride, approached him. Chief Okachukwu was one of the most respected men in the village, and his word often carried great weight. Chinedu, the chief called, his voice low but commanding. Chinedu stood up and wiped his brow. "Good afternoon, Chief Okachukwu. How can I help you?" The old man leaned on his staff and looked Chinedu over with a serious expression. "I've heard whispers around the village that you and Adaora have become close." Chinedu nodded, unsure of where this conversation was going. "Yes, Chief. We have." Chief Okachukwu's eyes narrowed. "Do you think her family will approve of this? You are still a young boy, with no wealth or title. Adaora is the daughter of Okoro, a well-known farmer. Her family might expect more from her future husband." Chinedu felt a lump form in his throat. "I know I may not have much now, but I'm working hard. I care deeply for Adaora." The chief's voice softened slightly. "Love is not enough, my boy. The world is hard, and people expect more than just feelings. If you want to be with Adaora, you must prove yourself worthy of her." With that, Chief Okachukwu turned and walked away, leaving Chinedu standing there, his heart heavy. The chief's words weighed on him. He knew that Adaora's family was proud, and though they liked him, they might not think he was good enough for their daughter. That evening, Chinedu sat by the river, lost in thought. Adaora, sensing something was wrong, found him sitting on their usual spot under the mango tree. "Chinedu, what's troubling you?" she asked, sitting down beside him. He hesitated, unsure if he should tell her about his conversation with Chief Okachukwu. But he couldn't hide his worries from her. "I spoke to Chief Okachukwu today," he began slowly. "He said I'm not worthy of you because I don't have wealth or status. He thinks your family will expect more from my husband." Adaora's brow furrowed, and she reached for his hand. "Chinedu, you've always been enough for me. I don't care about wealth or status. You've proven your worth with your kindness, your heart, and your actions." Chinedu sighed, feeling conflicted. "But what if the chief is right? What if your family doesn't approve? I want to provide for you, Adaora. I want to give you the life you deserve." Adaora looked into his eyes, her voice steady and full of conviction. "I don't need riches or a title, Chinedu. I just need you. We'll face whatever challenges come together." Her words reassured him, but deep down, Chinedu knew he had to find a way to prove himself, not just to Adaora's family, but to the entire village. He wanted to be more than just a boy with good intentions. He wanted to be a man worthy of the woman he loved. A few weeks later, an opportunity presented itself. The king of Amegu, Obiora, had declared a grand competition to honor the spirits of the land. The competition would test the strength, intelligence, and bravery of the young men in the village. The winner would be granted a special title, Guardian of Amegu, and would receive a portion of the king's land, along with the respect of all the villagers. Chinedu knew this was his chance. "Chinedu, are you sure about this?" Adaora asked, concern etched on her face when she heard about his decision to join the competition. "I have to do this, Adaora. This is the only way I can show everyone that I'm worthy of you," Chinedu said, determination burning in his eyes. Adaora's heart ached, but she nodded, understanding that this was important to him. "Then I'll be there to cheer you on. I believe in you." The day of the competition arrived, and the village gathered at the king's palace. The young men who entered the contest stood tall, each one eager to prove their worth. There were 3 challenges. The first was a race through the thick forest. The second was a test of strength, where the contestants had to lift heavy stones, and the final challenge was a test of wisdom, where they had to answer questions posed by the village elders. Chinedu was nervous, but as he looked into the crowd and saw Adaora's encouraging smile, his resolve strengthened. The race through the forest was brutal. The terrain was rough, and several contestants stumbled or gave up. But Chinedu pushed through, remembering all the times he had played in this forest as a child. He knew every twist and turn, every hidden path. When he emerged from the trees, he was among the first to finish. Next came the test of strength. Chinedu was not the biggest or the strongest, but he was determined. He gritted his teeth as he lifted the heavy stone, his muscles straining under the weight. The crowd gasped, but he managed to hold it up for the required time before gently placing it down. Finally, it was time for the test of wisdom. The elders asked difficult questions about the history of the village, the ancestors, and the laws that govern the land. Chinedu answered each question carefully, relying on the teachings of his father and the stories he had heard from the village elders over the years. When the competition ended, the king stood up to announce the winner. The entire village held its breath. Today, we have seen the strength, bravery, and wisdom of our young men. But there is one among them who has proven himself worthy of the title, Guardian of Amago. Chinedu, son of Nedi, step forward. The crowd erupted into cheers as Chinedu stepped forward, his heart pounding with disbelief. The king handed him a staff, the symbol of his new title, and congratulated him. Adaora rushed to his side, her face glowing with pride. "I knew you could do it, Chinedu." Chinedu smiled, feeling a deep sense of accomplishment. "I did it for you, Adaora. Now I can truly stand beside you." With his new title and respect from the village, Chinedu was able to approach Adaora's family with confidence. Her father, Okoro, smiled warmly as he welcomed him into their home. "Chinedu, you've proven yourself not only as a man but as a protector of our village." "You have my blessing," Okoro said, placing a hand on Chinedu's shoulder. The love between Adaora and Chinedu continued to grow, and soon, the whole village celebrated their union. The once mischievous boy who had caused an accidental bump in the market had become a man worthy of great respect, and the girl who believed in him every step of the way was now his beloved. Their love story became a legend in Amago, passed down through generations. It was a tale of perseverance, courage, and the power of believing in each other, even when the odds seemed impossible. As they stood together, hand in hand, under the same mango tree where their friendship had blossomed into love, Adaora smiled and whispered, "I told you, Chinedu. Love is enough." And with that, they embarked on their journey together, facing the future with hope, strength, and the bond that had been forged by fate.